winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your number one source for winners.
We've got 30 more minutes to break down the rest of your NFL games for today's card. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here along with Steve Budin. Every single Sunday, we're joining you to break down all of your NFL games from a point spread perspective. The only show in TV land that does that from a gambling edge. These aren't your typical pregame shows where you're going to get puff pieces and the pretty sideline report. Not to denigrate your looks or anything.
No Jimmy Johnson hair on this set.
No puff pieces about, who pulled a hamstring or anything like that, or who's going to win this game for their mother. No, we're going to break down all the games and try to give you winners and betting advice. And guys, we're going to head right back to the phones here and kick it off with Steven, who's calling us from the Windy City of Chicago. Steven, how you doing today?
Good, guys. Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. You want to talk about Carolina, Cleveland, which is cool, but then we're going to hit you up with a question on Chicago and Philadelphia afterwards. So who do you like in the Carolina-Cleveland contest?
I'm thinking going with the home team. I'm a Browns fan. What do you guys think? So far, the last couple of weeks, you guys have been on really helping me out really well. So, got to go with the pros.
Al, this Carolina team, they kind of remind me of that girl in college that everybody dated. Everyone except Mike Singletary, that is. But, it's almost like everybody gets their turn on this team. Everybody beats them by double digits. So why not Cleveland? Why, everybody else has. So, sure, I lay the 11 points here. No suspension of disbelief. Carolina's not going to wake up all of a sudden and learn how to play football. They stink.
Well, they're averaging last in the league in terms of points scored, 11.7 points. I think that we may be auditioning for quarterback next week. That's how bad it's gotten in terms of injuries for this team. They know John Fox is on the way out at the end of the year. He's going to be out of a job. Defensively, it's okay if you're only scoring 11 points a game, if you're only giving up 10 a game, but that's just not the case with Carolina this season, giving up a little over 25 a game. And as you said, this is a team that 8 of their 9 losses this year have come by double-digit margins. Plus, I think also, for Cleveland, this is a step down in class finally. You're talking about back-to-back games against New Orleans and New England, which they pulled off the upsets, and then they really gave the Jets a run for their money, probably should have won that game, lost it in overtime in the final 30-some seconds of play. Then they went to Jacksonville and gave the Jaguars all they could handle. So coming back home and taking on Carolina, this is the spot that the Browns should win.
And don't you feel that those 2 losses help Cleveland in this spot? Because normally coming in against the Carolina team, you could overlook them, you could not get up for them. But having lost 2 and then coming home, you really want to show your fans that you are the real deal that Cleveland has been this year.
Yeah, and they've got a very good defense. And the one thing, Eric Mangini, he's not a great coach, but he is a very good motivator of his teams. And generally, his teams are always prepared to play. Say what you want about his coaching skills, but in New York and here in Cleveland, his teams are always ready from the opening kickoff. So I agree with you. Not a game that I would personally play, but I lean a little toward Cleveland. So now I'm kind of curious. Who do you like in the Chicago-Philadelphia game? Philadelphia right now a 3.5-point favorite here against the Bears, who have won 3 in a row.
I think I got to go with Michael Vick. He's having this unbelievable MVP season. Got to go with guys.
And that seems to be the sentiment out there. Right now everybody is very pro Michael Vick, and for good reason. He's playing unbelievable, really doing everything. He's as fast as he's ever been. He was a step behind when he first came back. That step is now back. He's as fast as ever. He's throwing the ball well. He's running well. He's making the decision whether to throw or to run very well, too, which is so important. And, I look at this Chicago team, and I'm drinking the Philly Kool-Aid a little bit. I'll admit it. I look at the Chicago team, and they're 7-3, tied with the Packers. But if you look at the other 2 teams in that division, well, they're 2-8 and 3-7. So, it's really not a big deal that they're in first place in that division. That division stinks. If you have to ask yourself this question, if they couldn't beat Manning and the Giants, how is Jay Cutler and the Bears going to beat this Philly team? If the Giants and Peyton Manning couldn't beat this Philly team, I don't think they can.
Right, Eli Manning, but
sorry.
Playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Remember that was a 3-0 game at the half. even though they sacked Jay Cutler 9 times in that game, and the Giants didn't blow them out, even though that game was on the road. This one at Soldiers Field. These two played last year, and it was a 4-point game, Philadelphia prevailing. I think the dynamic here that you have to be concerned about is you've got the number 3 team in terms of defense this year, that being the Bears. I think they're only giving up like 16-some points a game against the number 2 scoring team in the NFL, which, is averaging over 28 points a game. So I think this line is priced very fairly, too, at 3.5. I think Philadelphia should be the 3.5-point favorite. And also, let's not discount the fact that the Bears had 2 extra days of prep time for this because they played Thursday night on Miami. I only say 2 days because when you're playing on the road on a Thursday night game, you got to fly home, so you lose one of those days in an advantage. But still, 2 extra days rest at this time of the season is so critical.
Well, at a time when everyone really loves Philly because of their offense, one of the things I do want to mention, though, is their defense has gone mostly underrated and unnoticed. Their defense is very tough, and they got the guy Asante Samuel, one of the best guys off coverage I've seen in the NFL. I think he definitely gets a pick today against Cutler, maybe more than one.
Okay, back to the phone lines we go to Leo, who is calling us from Washington, D.C. How you doing, Leo?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, listen, here's the bottom line. I've been trying to call in for a while. I'm not really a big believer in handicapping, but I have a big but. I have a really sharp friend. He turned me on to Insider Money Moves just a couple of weeks ago, probably like 4 weeks ago. I've been following him for, maybe call it 5 weeks. Every week I'm increasing my bet, and I'm making a killing. I'm up about 5 dimes. Here's the bottom line, though. I'm not really sure what I'm doing or how much I should be betting, and I need some help.
Well, one thing I can tell you is you never bet more than you can afford to lose.
Sounds like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's up 5 dimes. He's increasing every week. I mean, the guy's playing right from the playbook. But it's not something that I don't hear often. I hear this a lot from customers. We released this new system, the Insider Money Moves, and this is actually the moves straight out of Vegas when a wise guy who the casino respects comes in and makes a play, and they move their line based on that play, not because the entire public's in love with one team and everyone's betting that team and that line is moving like we see happen with Pittsburgh so often and teams of the marquee value. These are actual real moves from the real sources, and it's another thing that's never been done before. And it's another thing that we give away for 3 days to let everybody see there's no hocus pocus. It's strictly focus. And the thing about it is that, I get a lot of emails from customers that they don't know how much to play on the games because our regular handicapping plays, we give a rating to every game. We tell 50 dimes, 100 dimes, and you figure out what those dimes are in your bankroll, and you play it accordingly, and it's very easy. And we claim X amount of percentage of winning, X amount of bankroll at the end of the year, and it's based on the ratings that have all led up to that. Well, the Insider Money Move is a different animal. An Insider Money Move, every play is equal because every play comes from an equal source. It's not being released unless it's the strongest of strong plays. So you have to bet the same amount on every game, that's for sure. As far as raising your plays every week, that's a little bit aggressive. I think you want to take a month at a time. So you want to have a month with the plays, see how you did for the month, and then raise your bankroll accordingly, raise each play accordingly. That's the thing you want to focus on with the Insider Money Moves. But at the end of the day, also very important is to play every play. Sometimes you'll get 4 plays, and they'll come in, at normal times. Then all of a sudden, 10 o'clock at night, you may be out to dinner, you may be doing something, you're going to get that text or that phone call, that automated call, or the email, depending on which method you sign up for. And you can sign up for all the methods and get bombarded with calls and texts like most gamblers like to do. And when you get that play at 10 o'clock for that West Coast basketball game, you better play it, and it doesn't matter if you've gone 4-0 already, because those plays are just as strong. And if those 2 plays happen to win and you're not on them, well, if the next day they lose 2 plays, that's the 2 plays that would have offset those plays, and you really can't. When you go with the Insider Money Moves, you have to decide either you're in all the way, and you're going to play the same, and it doesn't matter what time, you're going to be ready to get those calls and get those plays. And if you've done that, well, you're up over 40 units right now. And for $500 bettors, just to put that in perspective, if you're betting $500 a game, that's close to $20,000 in profit.